Hi there, friends. Welcome to this creative feel good flow. For this class, maybe grab a couple blocks if you like to use a strap or a blanket. Have those handy as well. As always, before we start, this is your body and your practice. If I'm doing something that does not feel right for you, by all means, do something different. Take a resting pose, try a modification, do another pose that you know feels good for you. We'll get started in a child's pose. So you can bring your knees wide, big toes touch, press those hips back towards your heels. You can reach your arms out in front, rest your forehead down on a block or the mat. Close your eyes. Cultivate some deep, even inhales and exhales. Arrive here on your mat. This is going to be a fun little creative flow. So we might do some poses or transitions that you have never done before, or maybe don't do often. So I'll invite you to set an intention for this practice or even for your day. Could do a simple just I am mantra statement. Something like I am resilient, I'm creative, I go with the flow. That would be a good one. You can just come back to that anytime in class where you might feel challenged or confused. Just know that this is a time to even be creative on your mat. If I'm doing something that doesn't feel right, you get to create and do something that you know feels good for your body. Take one more breath. Inhale, lift up. Can remove the block if you were using it. Walk your hands over towards the right side of your mat. Stack that left palm on top of the right. Lower back down towards child's pose and press the left hip back towards the left heel. One breath. Inhale, press up, walk the hands over towards the left side. Stack the right palm on top of the left. Lower back down here for a breath. Let's come back to center. Walk the hands back towards the knees and come into a kneeling position. Inhale and sweep your arms up overhead, palms can touch. Exhale, right hand comes down, left arm will reach up and over into a side bend. Inhale it back up to center, side bend towards the left. Go to each side one more time. Press down through that reaching arm, through that side, the sit bone on that side. That's what I'm trying to say, to help get a little bit of length up the side. We'll inhale, arms back up to center. Take an exhale. Next inhale, open those elbows out to the side like goalpost or cactus arms. Open the chest, draw the shoulder blades towards one another. And then exhale, draw the elbows in front of you towards one another. Round through your spine, draw the belly in. And then move through these kneeling cat-cows a few times on your own breath. Inhaling it open and exhaling it closed. Pulling the shoulder blades together and then away. Do one more round wherever you are. Come back to those cactus arms. Release the hands down. Interlace the fingers behind you. Roll those upper arms up and back and then reach the knuckles down towards the mat behind you. Open your chest. You can gaze up slightly. And then exhale, we'll release the hands and come forward into a tabletop. So bring your wrists underneath your shoulders, knees under your hips. Lift that right knee, keep it bent. Take some hip circles with that right leg. Doesn't matter which direction you go. Just do a few going each way. And then we'll reach that right foot up behind us. Keep a bent knee. Keep the right hip pointing down towards the mat. Take some little pulses here, like you're stamping that right foot onto the ceiling. Let's do two more. Bring that right knee back down towards center, and then we'll open that right leg out to the side into a fire hydrant. And this time, see if you can work to straighten that right leg out into a little kick in between each fire hydrant. And it might be very low, and it might not be all the way straight. Just do what works best for you. Do one more out to the side. Keep that leg straight and then place the foot out to the side with the toes pointing forward. Gate pose legs. We'll walk the hands out in front of us and lower the chest down into a little gate pose puppy mashup stretch. Reach those sit bones behind you. I can tell my chest and shoulders are so tight today. Feeling this one. And then press down through those palms, walk the hands back under the shoulders, swing that right leg behind you, tuck the right knee behind the left, walk your hands up towards the front right side of your mat, and then sit back a little bit into, I call this like a cross-legged child's pose. Good stretch of the outer hip and the glute. We'll come back up towards center, realign in your tabletop, and let's take all of that on the left. So start with your hip circles, a couple going each direction. And then lift that left leg behind you, keep a bend in the knee, start stamping that left foot up on the ceiling. Work to keep that left hip pointing down towards the mat. Let's do 2 more. Bring the knee in back towards center. Take those fire hydrants out to the side, maybe adding in that little kick in between. Let's do 3 more. 2. Last one. Kick it out. Place the left foot down, toes point forward. Walk the hands out, lower the chest. Take a breath. Next, inhale, walk the hands back to center. Swing that left leg all the way behind you, cross the knee behind the right. Hands up to the left corner of the mat, and then sit those hips back. Woo, feeling this one. Last breath. Inhale back up to center. Come back into that tabletop. Walk your hands forward a little if you need to for downward facing dog. Curl those toes, lift the hips up. In your downward facing dog, walk out those heels. You can keep bent knees. Press down through your palms. Push that mat away. Reach those sit bones up high. And then you can keep bent knees here. We'll just tiptoe all the way up to the front of the mat. You can land with your feet hips distance apart. Grab opposite elbows. Take a little pause in a ragdoll here. Swing side to side. And then release those hands. We'll roll it up to stand. Stacking the spine. Arriving here at the top of the mat. We'll do a couple rounds of our Sun Sal A. Since this is a creative flow, we're going to add in a couple of things. So we'll inhale, arms up overhead into our Urdhva Hastasana. Add in a side bend to each side here. Go to the right and to the left. Back up to center. Exhale, come into your Uttanasana, forward fold. Release the crown of your head. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step those feet back into a plank. Take an inhale. You can come down onto your knees if you need to. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here. We'll add in a little twist. Reach the right hand towards the outside of the left ankle. And you might not reach it. You can keep it open. Then let's take the left hand towards the outside of the right ankle. Just a little twist to each side. Back in that downward facing dog, take an inhale. Exhale, step or hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Rise it all the way back up to stand. Exhale, hands down through heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms up overhead. Side bend to the right. Side bend to the left. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, step back. Inhale, Chaturanga on knees if you need to. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Add in that little twist to each side. Back to center. Take an inhale. Exhale, step or hop to the front. Inhale, half lift. Reach the crown of your head forward. Exhale, fold. Press down through those feet. Rise all the way back up. Hands draw down through heart center. Last one here. Inhale, arms up. Side bend. Starting to feel that energy flow through your body. Everything is waking up. Half lift. Step it back to plank. Take your Chaturanga. Inhale, Cobra or upward. Downward. One more little twist to each side. Maybe notice these get a little easier each time we do them. Let's stay in our downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, bend the knee, bring it in towards the nose. We'll plant the right foot, lower onto that back knee, and we'll come into Anjaneyasana. So hip shift forward. You can have a blanket under that back knee if you need to. Arms reach up overhead. Take an exhale. Next, inhale, draw down those elbows, open the chest just like we did kneeling into cactus. And we'll do that a few times up and down, just on your own breath. Last one, we'll reach back behind us just like we did kneeling, interlace those fingers, roll those upper arms up and back, open the chest. Little back bend. We'll come back up to center, release those hands. Left hand can come down on a block or the mat next to your front foot. Open your right arm up into a twist. Take a breath here. And then on your exhale, bring the right hand down right where that left hand was, so it can be on a block or the mat. And then we'll spin this left shin to be parallel to the front and back of the mat. Hips can come forward. We're opening up here through that front hip. We're taking a modified side angle. So this is just like our side angle, but that back knee is down. One breath. Next inhale, we'll rise it back up. We're facing the side of the mat. Left hand comes down at the back of the mat. Right arm reaches up and over into a modified side plank. We'll take this top arm, reach it all the way down towards the mat, and then tap those left ribs. So we're taking like a little rotation here and then opening it back up. Do this a few times. Next time you take that right hand down, we'll spin all the way to face the back of the mat. So right hand comes down. This knee will shift to just face the back of the mat. We still have our right leg straight behind us, and we'll lift it up into a balancing tabletop. Let's take 5 crunches here. So you can reach this left arm forward if you'd like. You could keep it down on the mat. Draw that right knee in for a crunch, and then if you have the arm extended, take the elbow towards the knee. Last one here. We'll place that right foot down, left hand down, lift it up into 3-legged downward facing dog on the left, facing the back of the mat. And then we'll bring that left foot forward, Anjaneyasana, on the left. Inhale those arms up, squeeze that right glute. Take your exhale. Next inhale, work those cactus arms, open the chest. Do this a few times. Next time you do this, release the hands, clasp the fingers the awkward, weird way. Open that chest. Baby gaze up. Release those hands, reach them back up overhead. Exhale, right hand comes down, left arm reaches up into a twist. Now we come for that modified side angle. So the left hand will come down to the inside of that left foot. We'll spin this right shin, and then those hips reach forward as the right arm reaches up and overhead, and we get a long line up the right side of the body. Hand can be on a block here or even on your thigh. One breath. And then we'll lift up, straighten that left leg. Right hand comes down towards the front of the mat, modified side plank. So our left arm is reaching up now, and we're going to take those little reaches through to the back of the right ribs. 2, 3, let's do 2 more. 4, 5, reach it back up. This time we'll take the left hand down, and we're spinning to face the front and landing in a balancing tabletop. Keep that right hand down or reach it forward. Add in those 5 crunches. 4, 3, 2. Last one. Right hand comes down, left foot comes down. We'll lift up into 3-legged dog. Place that right foot down, and then tiptoe on your toes all the way up to the front. And we'll see if we can lower here. Stay on your tiptoes. Lower those hips down and see if you can come into a toe squat. So we're balancing on the balls of the feet here. These are so hard for me. Hands reach forward. I generally don't teach toe squats, but I've been feeling them lately. So we're on the toes. Here's our challenge, and we may not make it, and that's all good. Come back to that mantra. See if you can rise all the way up to stand, staying on your toes. Oh, this one's tricky. And then we'll release the heels down. That only happens like 1 out of every 10 times I do that. I usually fall. Let's inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, sit back into Utkatasana chair. Bring your hands to heart center. We'll twist towards the right. You can maybe hook the elbow. Keep those knees in line, seat reaching back. And then shift the weight into your right foot. See if you can lift this left foot back behind you into a revolved crescent. It's a tricky one. If you need to take little hip hops, that's okay too. We'll come back forward, inhale the arms up into a high crescent lunge. And then from here, take a little back bend. Palms touch, maybe reach back. As you come forward, hands can come to the heart. We'll shift the torso forward over this front leg. See if you can lift the back leg up into a warrior three. You may have to take a little, like I just did there, pulse in between. Keep this left hip pointing down towards the mat. Keep the right hip hugging in. Another challenge here, see if you can rise up into a stork. You can set that left foot down if you need to, but maybe balance on that right foot. Lift the left knee up in front of you. We'll open the left arm behind us. Right hand can come to the outside of the left knee. Take a little twist. Hold here for a breath. And then we'll cartwheel down just like the way we came. So the left foot is going to reach back behind us. Left arm will reach up and overhead, and we'll come into a revolved lunge. So that left foot steps back behind us. Left hand comes down. Open that right arm up. And then exhale, right hand comes down to frame that front foot. We'll step this left foot back into a three-legged plank. And we'll do some leg lifts in plank. So we've got right leg, replace it, lift the left leg. Just alternate side to side in your plank here for a few rounds. Squeeze that big glute muscle. Remember to breathe. Let's do one more to the left. If you would like to add in a vinyasa, go for it, or just lift up to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it go out through your mouth. We'll try that fun little toe squat again. Come up onto the toes, tiptoe forward. See if you can lower the hips. Land in a toe squat. This one's going to be trickier. And then see if you can rise all the way up to stand. Find a point to focus on in front of you that's not moving. It's your drishti, focus point. Rise up to stand on the toes, and then exhale, lower the heels down. Inhale, arms up overhead. Sit back in your chair again, Utkatasana. Keep the belly hugging in. Hands come to heart center. Twist towards the left this time. You can keep this open, or you could hook the elbow. Just check in with those knees. Try to keep them in line. Shift the weight into your left foot. It always helps me to look down towards the mat for this one. Shift the weight into your left foot. Hover that right foot. Step it back into a revolved lunge. Open up towards the left. Keep those inner thighs hugging in towards one another. And then we'll inhale back into high crescent. You can keep the palms touching. Take that little back bend. Hands come down through heart center. Shift forward. Bring that torso forward. Shift the weight into the left foot. Maybe float that right foot up into your warrior three. And then see if you can rise up slowly towards your stork. Lifting that right knee. Bending it in front of you. Open the right arm up behind you. Left arm comes to the outside of that right knee. And then this little windmill move. So we'll take the right leg right back behind us. Right arm reaches up and overhead. The left arm sweeps down behind us. Open up into a revolved lunge. Take a breath here. Exhale this left hand down. Frame that front foot. We'll step the left foot back into a three-legged plank. And this time we'll try, I call these around the worlds. So we'll lift the left leg, lower it, lift the right arm, or left arm, sorry, right arm, right foot. So we're just going all the way around the mat, lifting leg, leg, arm, arm, and trying to keep our plank as steady as possible without too much rocking. Let's go around one more time. It can help to widen your feet out. We'll come back into that plank, add in that vinyasa if you would like, or just lift it up to downward facing dog. Take that breath in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. Let's lift the right leg up and bend the knee. Add some hip circles here in your down dog. Do a few going each direction. See if you can draw the biggest circle ever with that right knee.
Once you've done a few going each direction, we'll bring that right knee in towards the nose, plant it at the front of your mat, and then we'll cartwheel all the way up to face the left side of the mat into a star. So we've got our toes pointing out slightly, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, let's sit down into goddess. So lower the seat, bend the knees. Keep those knees tracking towards those toes so we're not collapsing in too much. Hands can stay up overhead. You can bring them to hips. Take some pulses up and down. Let's do 10 more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Get a little lower. 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand it up. Point your toes forward. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Take a nice little forward fold break. In your wide-legged forward fold, do anything that feels good. I always like to rock it side to side. You can let it go through the shoulders, up through the neck. We'll bring our hands to our hips and inhale it back up to stand. Point your right toes to face the front of your mat. We'll come for triangle pose. Reach the arms out. Hinge at that front hip. Exhale. Release the right hand down to block, shin the mat. Open that left arm up overhead. Press down through those top ribs. Get some length. Challenge here. See if you can rise it back up. If you need to bend the front knee, you can. We'll rise it back up the way we came. Turn the right toes to face the side of the mat. Open the left toes. We'll do triangle to the left. Hinge at that left hip. Reach, 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 reach. Left hand comes down. Right arm reaches up. Take a breath. And on this side, we'll cartwheel this top arm all the way down. We'll come up onto the back toes, bend the left knee, and we'll heel toe this left foot out to the side of the mat and come into a lizard lunge here at the back of the mat. So you can stay up, you could have blocks under hands, stay up with that back knee, or you could lower it down and just take a pause here to do anything that feels good in your lizard lunge. For me, this is it. I always rock side to side. You can come down on forearms. Just allow the hips to open here a little bit. Remember to breathe. Come back to that I am statement. I am resilient. I'm powerful. And then from here, if you're on your forearms, come back up. If you're on the back knee, come back up. Interesting little transition here. We'll open up into Skandasana. So we'll just walk our hands towards the back foot. We'll spin to come onto the right heel. We'll keep that leg straight and lower the hips down. So we're facing the side of the mat, kind of where we came from. You can open your arms if you'd like to. We'll come back to center and then come up to warrior two on the right. So if you need to use your hands to help you up, you can. Maybe you can press down through that left foot, bend that front knee, open the arms, warrior two. Flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, cartwheel the hands down, frame that front foot. We'll lift that right leg up behind us into a three-legged dog, bend the knee, stay here in a scorpion dog, hugging that right heel towards the right glute, or if you'd like to drop into a wild thing, you can. You'll come onto the right fingertips, shift that left foot, slowly lower those right toes down behind you, press down through both feet, open the hips, squeeze the glutes, open the chest. Keep pressing down through that left hand. And then we'll flip it right back over into our three-legged downward facing dog. Place that left foot down next to or the right foot down next to the left. And then we'll lift the left leg up. Take those hip circles, draw the biggest circle you can with that left knee. A couple going each direction. Bring that left knee in towards the nose. Plant that left foot, open up to star on the right. We'll lower into goddess now. Bend your knees, lower those hips. Keep a long spine, not hugging forward. And then in our goddess this time, I'll turn to face you for this one. You can add in a shoulder stretch. So take your horseshoe hands above your knees, and then you can drop one shoulder in, little twist here, side to side. Do a few going each direction. And then if you'd like a little challenge, we'll come back up to center. See if you can lift up onto the right toes, the left toes, maybe both toes. Hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heels lower down. Straighten those legs, turn your toes to face forward, and then exhale, fold forward into your wide-legged forward fold. If you'd like to add in a hand clasp this time, that could feel good. Interlace those fingers, open the chest just like we have been, and then hinge at your hips, fold forward. Allow those palms to just fall behind you. If this is too intense through the shoulders, feel free to release. Just for a breath. And then next, inhale, hands to hips, half lift, rise it back up. We'll do triangle to the left. So left toes point towards the front of the mat. Reach your arms out, hinge at that left hip. Drop the left fingertips down to block shin the mat. Open your chest. If you're noticing that you're facing towards the mat, you probably need to lift that bottom arm up. We want to have open chest. See if you can rise it back up to center. Switch your feet. Point the right toes towards the back of the mat. And then take triangle on the right. Next, exhale, lift that left arm up and overhead. We'll cartwheel to face the back of the mat. Come up onto the back toes. Heel toe that right foot towards the side of the mat. High lizard lunge. Anything here that feels good. Sometimes rocking back and forth on that back toe. Can come onto the back knee. I like little just hip wiggles side to side. Can come down onto forearms. Can always have blocks under your hands for this one too. If you really want to intensify, you could put a block under your front foot. Save that for another day. Let's rise back up, and then this is our little transition to Skandasana. So come back off of the back knee. We'll walk our hands back towards the left, spin the right toes to face out, and then come onto the left heel, lower the hips. Your Skandasana can be higher, wherever feels good. Open that chest, left arm reaches up. And then maybe press down through that left foot, draw it all up to center, warrior two on the left. Inhale, flip that front palm, reverse your warrior. Cartwheel those hands down to frame the front foot. Step this left foot back into your three-legged downward facing dog. Bend the knee, open that hip, stay in a scorpion dog. Or work to slowly, as slow as you can, flip your dog by placing those left toes behind you. Keep that right leg straight. Open the chest. Next, exhale, spin it back into your three-legged dog. Place that left foot down next to the right. We'll tiptoe our feet forward and we'll land wide in a malasana. So bring your feet out towards opposite edges of the mat. Point your toes out slightly. Lower those hips down. Take your yogi squat. It can be up higher. You could sit up on blocks. Maybe rock side to side. I like to have my hands at heart center and then press those upper arms into the knees, knees into arms. And then challenge here. See if you can lower onto your seat and land in a Navasana boat pose. So I always like to reach my arms out in front. See if you can lower your seat down. Lift those knees up, feet up. Maybe straighten the legs, have all the shakes. And then exhale, lower those feet down. We'll come into a half dragonfly or like a half wide-legged forward fold. So I'll turn to face you. Right leg reaches out. We'll bend the left knee, fold it in, and then we'll take the right hand on the inside of that right leg and then reach the left arm up and overhead. Now we're not reaching for toes in this. We're reaching to open the chest. Let's inhale it back up to center and we'll take that on the other side. So left foot reaches out, bend that right knee, left hand on the inside of that left leg, open your right arm up and overhead, press down through that right sit bone and then feel the length up the right side. These can get into our QLs, a muscle along the lower back. I know mine get so tight. These always feel so nice. We'll inhale it back up to center, open both legs out into your wide-legged forward fold. And we'll take another little side bend, just like we did. So right hand down, left arm reaches up and overhead. This time, close your chest down towards the mat. Take a little forward bend here. So we're on the inside of the right foot. And then see if you can tiptoe your fingers. This can always be on blocks too. Tiptoe your fingers towards the center into a little pause and a fold. Keep tiptoeing. And then land on the left side. We'll start with the closed chest and then open. So, on your own beat here, we'll just kind of go back and forth side to side. So come to each side and take that little bend, and then tiptoe around to the other side. Once you've had enough of those, we can walk our hands out forward and just take a little forward fold. Hands can still be on blocks here. Just release forward for a breath. And then we'll walk the hands back up towards center. Take the hands on the inside of the knees, hook your fingertips underneath, help to pull those knees back up to center, come onto the soles of the feet, and then take some little windshield wipers side to side. All right, next pose is one I've been adding in because I know I need it. So we're going to add it in here too. We're going to take a frog. So this one is a pretty deep opener here through the adductors and the hips. If you like, I have a really soft floor, so I'm not going to use a blanket, but if you're on a hard floor, this would be a great one to have a blanket underneath, like your knees. So for frog, I'll show full first. You're going to walk your knees out to the sides, and you'll have a bend in your knee and then a bend in your ankle. So the insides of your feet will be down on the floor. And you'll have a bend in the knee, bend in the ankle. And what you'll do is you'll walk your knees out, kind of when you feel that first point of resistance, and you can rush your forearms down. You could even have a pillow or a bolster or something underneath your chest. And you'll want to have like a 90-degree bend at the hip, the knee, and then there at the ankle. And you'll just stay here and breathe. If this is too intense, if it's feeling good, stay there. If it's too intense, you can take a half frog by coming onto your belly and then drawing one leg out to the side into that position, and just do one side at a time. So wherever you are, stay there for a few breaths. If you're taking the one side at a time, make sure you switch sides. We'll just stay here and breathe. Let's do like 5 more deep breaths. Sometimes it can feel good to rock back and forth in this a little, add in a little bit of movement. This is one where I kind of get like the panic. Sometimes the deeper hip openers can incite that in. So just check in with your brain. If this is feeling too intense, back out of it. Try the half version. If you're not feeling it at all, take something else that you know feels better for you. And I think that'll do it. So if you're on forearms or anything, come back up onto your hands. And then how I get out of this is I move my toes towards one another and then sit the hips back onto the heels, walk the chest upright, and then you can draw your knees in together and just come to kneel. And just pause there for a breath. That's a pretty intense hip opener. I've noticed my adductors have been super tight, so I've been adding that into a lot of flows lately. So you're welcome. Or if you didn't like it, I'm sorry. So we'll come down onto our backs next and just take a happy baby. So however you like to get onto your back. Grab onto ankles, big toes, outside of heels. Use your strap. Reach those feet up, knees down towards armpits. You can add in that little rock side to side if that would feel good. Maybe straighten one leg and then the other, maybe both. And then we'll come back to center, hug those knees in, circle them around. And we'll try a spinal twist with a little, since this is our creative flow, a little add-on to it. So we'll reach the left leg long, hug the right knee in. We'll take our normal half-wind supine twist here. So we'll take the right knee over towards the left, come onto the outside of that left hip. If you're feeling good here, you can stay, open that right arm up, just take your normal supine twist. If you want a little bit more of a stretch through that left leg, you can bend the knee and reach that left foot up towards the left glute. See if you can grab it with the right hand, and then work to open your right shoulder and chest. And just breathe here. This one is called, it's a yin posture called cat chasing its tail. Let's take one more breath. You can release that foot if you have it. We'll roll right back up the way we came, hug that right knee in one more time, and then switch sides. Right leg reaches long, hug the left leg in, and then take that left foot over towards the right. I always have to hike up, come onto the outside of that right hip. If you're feeling good here, just reach that left arm out to the side. Take your normal supine twist. If you want to add in that cat chasing the tail, you'll bend the right knee, reach that heel up towards your right glute, and then see if you can grab the top of the foot with the left hand. And then instead of rolling farther towards the right, see if you can get that left shoulder closer down towards the mat. This is really pulling here through the chest and opening. Last breath. Release the foot if you have it. Roll back up to center. Hug the left knee in. Hug the right knee in. Maybe roll them around. Massage that lower back. And then extend your feet down towards opposite corners of the mat. Lift your chest, tuck your shoulder blades underneath. Reach those arms out to the sides with your palms facing up. Check in with the back of your neck. See if you can tuck your chin slightly, get a little bit of length there. Close down your eyes. Take one inhale in through the nose. Let it go through the mouth. And just release the breath. Let it come naturally here in your Shavasana. Repeat that mantra, that I am statement to yourself here silently one more time. Whatever word you chose, see if you can embody that throughout the rest of your day. You are strong, you are capable, you're resilient, you're powerful. You are all of those things. We just did a flow that had a lot of tricky transitions, that had some sneaky strength building, and then maybe some movements that you don't normally take in your day or your movement practice, like a sneaky toe squat, standing up onto our toes. You did it, you made it through. Now give yourself a few moments here in your Shavasana to absorb your practice and give your body the rest and the release that it deserves. So I'll invite you to stay here in your Shavasana for as long as you would like. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice.